All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Going to start doing something different. If y'all have watched my channel, those of you that have been subscribed for a little while, kind of going back and forth with different types of videos. I've tried podcasting. I've tried other little videos, doing editing and stuff, and I really just don't have the time to edit videos. So you'll notice my footage has changed and things like that. So the format we're going to do now, well, first off, if you're already subscribed, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching again. And if you're not, go check out some of the other videos. If you like it, subscribe. If not, that's okay. So what we're going to do starting last week, I guess, so to speak, is Monday to Saturday. I'm going to do like just regular footage of the job sites. And Sunday we'll kind of recap the week and kind of talk about how things went. So that's kind of how that's go. So we'll go and start with that. So last week, we started out with the video moving the two machines. So what went down with that job is that link belt I had to move. I moved it to that bank demolition that we had almost had completed, but we had to wrap up a few more things on it. But the machine, that Volvo that was on site, had kind of crapped out on us, basically. So and they're trying to save the parking lot and stuff like that, so we're not able to use that machine there because it was leaking, and then it got to where it was leaking pretty bad, where there's a steady stream coming from the cylinder. So obviously for those reasons we couldn't run that Volvo machine. So I went and picked that link belt up, as y'all seen. Now the job that link belt's on, I try to explain it in that video a little bit. So the inland port is basically kind of like when you have out on like some ports on the coast, the ships. Container ships come in with all the containers. That's kind of our version, but it comes in on rail car there, and then they kind of divvy it up from there and whatnot. And that's brought a lot of job start area in the upstate of South Carolina. Sorry, I got dust in my eye or something. Anyway, so it's brought jobs and stuff like that. Well, they've expanded. The place keeps getting bigger and bigger, and they're expanding. So they bought 4 houses, and you've seen in the video, there's 4 houses side by side. The one kind of with the cut yard, I think, when I started that video, that house is actually in pretty decent shape, very much livable, but it was they acquired it when they bought all that, so it had to be tore down along the other 3. And what we're doing is our guys have to go in, take the asbestos out, and then after that they'll do the we will do the demolition. Our company handles both aspects. So anyway, so I had to go. We had started that job. We had to, in the city limits of the town that's in, they if it's got a septic tank on the property, they require you to get a septic tank like disposal permit. A lot of counties they don't care. They say just do something with a septic tank, get rid of it, pump it out, whatever. But I guess in this area they've had bad luck with people leaving the tanks, and either they cave in and people are falling in them, or people are driving on them and caving in, or whatever. So we took that machine, went over there, kind of cleared the trees around the area, and then ripped the septic tanks out. So I really didn't want to move that machine. That machine was supposed to stay there for that demolition, even though they're still doing the abatement. We're not ready for it yet, but nonetheless, it was halfway to the bank job where that Volvo was at. So that day I went ahead and grabbed it, moved it up there, grabbed the Volvo and brought it back. So we could wrap that job up. And we started, when we got that link belt over there, we had already crushed the bank vault, thankfully. And y'all can see, I don't know, this microphone's kind of weird, and I don't like talking. I can hear myself breathe. Anyway, so the bank vault, y'all probably seen the concrete, how thick it is, and the metal and stuff. They're built like it's like a bomb shelter, pretty much. They're just built kind of bulletproof. So that 250 Volvo, we have a mechanical pulverizer. I showed it in one of the videos, not on the machine, it was off the machine, but I'll get footage of it one day in action. But it basically cuts right through concrete. The way it's designed, it puts pressure points on a very small area, and it'll bust it up and get the metal out or whatever. So we had good luck with that, but right after I got all the walls tore down, the cylinder started pouring out, and I still had the floor left. which isn't a lot, but those things are kind of hard to use on the floor. So anyway, that didn't happen. So we ended up taking the jackhammer there. Y'all seen me throw that on the low boy and take it over there. So that hammer, we bought it, I don't know, we'll say 3 years ago, I don't remember. A company, we actually bought the dealer for Link-Belt around here had called us. I guess they heard we bought the pulverizer or whatever. So they called us and said they had a hammer that they had on their rental fleet. They don't really use it. They want to get rid of it or whatever. So asked if we wanted it. We kind of thought about it, and we ended up getting it. It has sat. That hammer has probably sat there since we bought it. Just had a need for it. Most of the time, slabs are pretty thin, and our machines are big enough to either lift the footers out and we break them with other big pieces of concrete, or the pulverizer is able to do it. So we hadn't really had a need for the hammer. So that was actually the first attempt we had putting it on that machine. And as y'all seen, well, y'all didn't get to see every second I spent, but once I loaded up on that trailer, we took it over there to the job, and me and Oscar, who was on site, Fred was there. He was driving and stuff. He's the one that left in the low boy later on in that video. But he, while Oscar and Fred were working, I was driving around that town. It's a very small town where that bank's at, kind of out in the middle of the little cities. Got some stuff there, but for the most part, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So finding parts was fun, and of course, the first thing I needed to do was find fittings. Well, finding hydraulic fittings for stuff like that, good luck sometimes. A lot of times they have to order it because they're either too big or they require a lot of pressure, and a lot of these smaller shops don't have it. So got lucky though. The guy I went to, I'd been there a few times before. He had the parts, which thankfully the place is called Randolph Industrials and Textiles or something. They're in Gaffney. Look, if you're ever in that area and you need something or whatever as far as hydraulic fittings or hoses, small shop, kind of a one-man show, super nice guy. Actually, former DOT. I was talking to him. He had some interesting stories, but we'll get off on that later. But he got me hooked up. So I get back, but the issue I was having before I could even go to that guy was the way these hoses go into that hammer. They're like under a plate, and they're not on there with like typical hex bolt heads or anything. It was these large Allens, which we have all those tools, but normally Oscar runs a pickup truck with grease, fuel, and air, and that's a few little tools, but for the most part, he doesn't really need the tools. Well, that's what we had on the job site the day, was that specific truck. So I had to go run around looking for tools. Well, I couldn't take one of the bolts to match it up with the tool because I couldn't get the bolt out. So I went to a auto parts place, and they didn't have kits of the big Allen sockets, but they had like individual ones, and I just kind of guessed and bought one. Ended up being the wrong size. Get to the job. It was a nightmare because at this point it's probably lunchtime or after. I don't remember. It was getting late in the day to be messing with this. So across the street there was a hardware store. Might have been Lowe's. I don't remember, one of them. Anyway, so I go over there and I had to buy a kit. And that stupid kit was like a few $100s, like $200. But it's either that or drive all the way back to town, get one. And he needed some on his truck anyway, so I just went in and bought the kit, and we're just leaving it on his truck now because now I know that hammer requires those types of sockets. But and the alternative, I didn't have to mess with this hammer. I'd called a few rental places with track hammers. I call them a track hammer. It's an excavator with the hammer attached to it. Some people call them hoe rams, or I don't know, whatever. A track hammer. So, and they wanted and with me going to pick it up with our low boy, not them delivering, it was like $3,000, and I was like, nah, even if I spend all day, don't even get to use it that day, but if I get to use it the next day, I save $3,000, which doesn't sound like a lot on a somewhat of a larger project. On a commercial project, it's still $3,000, and I have a hammer, so I would go rent one. You know what I mean? So anyway, the guy got me hooked up, and we got it fixed. Busted through the floor. I think it may have taken me 30 minutes to get through that floor. I don't even think it took that long. I think in the video I said how long it took. It might take 15 minutes. So we got that taken care of, and we got we were able to get the hammer off, and actually our mechanic that works for us full time, he's out on vacation, so it was he normally messes with changing the pins out, which I know there's not a lot to it, but it would have been nice to have had him there, but he's on vacation. But me and Oscar got taken care of, got it fixed or whatever, switched out, and so that went good. So where that job's at now that we got the Safecon is I think I got like 2 loads left to haul out of there. I don't know. I think and the dog in the video I found. It's funny, that dog kept running back and forth to that job. So he'd go from a church to the other side to like a local newspaper or something like that on the other side. He kept running back and forth, and he got where he'd get close to us, but you try to get near him, and he didn't want nothing to do with us. So hopefully, I think what happened was somebody probably didn't want him anymore and just kind of threw him out to the side. But so hopefully he didn't get hit by a car, because that's Highway 11, and that's a pretty busy little road. So anyway, but yeah, I think I've got a couple loads left over there. We'll knock that out and be done with that. And that link belt, and I'll kind of talk about machines a little bit. The link belt, it's a 210 size, which is, I think ours is probably like 51,000, 52, something like that. And it's a good machine. It's funny because I tried going to Volvo because they specialize in demolition excavators. That's kind of becoming kind of their market or whatever, or they're trying to make it their market. And they sell some neat stuff for the industry, but to be honest with you, I know a lot of people on YouTube have good luck with Volvo. I just really hadn't had good luck with it. I've always had problems out of that 250 and that 350. And if any of y'all have Volvo machines or know anything about them, their parts aren't cheap. It's like having a Mercedes for a car. Everything's expensive. So what I'd like to do, and everything, you do it in stages. Everything's so expensive nowadays. But the link belt 210, probably keep it. But I would like, because y'all seen the struggle we went through. We got to drive the pins out for the hammer and do all this stuff. And even though a 210's a good all-around size machine, I'm more of a fan of at least the 250 size machine, because you got a lot more power. So for demolition, I think it's a better all-around machine versus like in the site work world. As far as grading, I think the 200 size is good, 210 or whatever. You can fit it in small neighborhoods or do little basements or whatever. So I want to take that 250 Volvo you've seen, and at some point sell it, trade it in, get rid of that pulverizer, and maybe step up to like a 245 link belt, which it's a zero tail swing, got the little dozer blade, which I think you almost have to have the dozer blade on those machines just for stability. They're pretty stable, but that dozer blade, especially when you're like really reaching out like a big foot or a big bucket of dirt or something, I think it would definitely help. And when you get to that final pickup stuff, that when you go to grab it with a thumb, it kind of busts up and goes everywhere. I believe, I haven't run one of the 245s, but I think you could kind of like scoop your bucket into the blade and kind of cut out some hand work, which, not to make anybody lazy, but a lot of times for what we do, we're having to go from job to job, and we're constantly moving, and our workload is ridiculous, so we really don't have time to waste. It would cut back on either manpower and speed things up, things like that. So my goal in the future, maybe next year, we'll see how things go. It would be nice to get rid of that Volvo, and sorry for all you guys that love Volvos. Trade it in, get a 245, and get the Roadliner tracks, which are the Tripper Growls are steel tracks, but they come with the rubber pads, which you could take them off if you didn't want them, because a lot of times we'll get these big projects. We have 10, 20, 30 houses to tear down in like a small town, and the streets are real gridlocked, and you can't get a lowboy down them. And I promise you, I'm not saying I'm the best driver out there, but you can't get a lowboy down these streets. I've tried. It's just not going to work. Maybe a shorter 35, maybe, but I don't have one of those. You've seen ours. It's pretty big. So with the Roadliners, I can walk the machine, which we do it now, and I'm not a fan of it, but we walk our track machines down the road if we have to get to the job site. And yes, I know you could get a 150 size, put it on a tag trailer. We've got one of those. We've done that. I just don't like that size machine. So with the rubber liners, the road liner tracks, whatever you want to call them, we could walk the machine down the road. Don't worry about tearing anything up. If you caught a manhole, it's not going to, yank it up or damage it or anything like a steel track would. So that would be that. And so we'll see. And get the quick coupler. They make an oil quick coupler for those machines. So it's like a quick coupler. And it's got, in fact, I don't know who watches my videos. YouTube kind of tells me the demographics. But if you watch Cotton Top 3, I think he's based out of Mississippi. He's got a friend that, I say a friend, acquaintance, I believe, with a demolition company. And I seen it on his video one time. It's M&M Demolition. I believe they're out of Mississippi also. He's got the quick coupler. I think it's on his Volvos. It's a quick coupler, but inside the quick coupler, it's got these, like your hydraulic quick coupler too. It's pretty interesting. I always worry though about the seals leaking because demolition's kind of rough, so I don't know how it would work. But who knows? I might look into it. I don't know. Hooking up hoses isn't a problem, but the pin driving in and out is. So maybe if I get a pin grabber set up or something like that, that'd be nice. And one man could do it. I mean, Oscar or whoever's operating the machine could literally drop the bucket, grab the hammer, bust the floor, hook the hoses up, whatever. Drop the hammer and then put the bucket back on. And the other thing, if y'all seen in on our 350 Volvo, if y'all notice, it's got an interesting bucket on it. It's got the bucket's got like an integrated thumb on it, which is nice. Some people don't like it, and I understand why. If you do a lot of dirt digging, it does get in the way. It won't open up as far as a typical thumb. But the good thing about it in the demolition world is when you grab a piece of concrete, a lot of times trying to lower it into the bed, if it's a big piece, it's hard to do without accidentally opening your bucket up too much. And if you're not engaging your thumb at the same time and kind of like rotating them together, you'll drop it. And if we're loading our own trucks, I don't want to tear up our stuff, but at the same time, something gets messed up, it's our stuff. We don't want to be dropping concrete on hired trucks. One, they won't come back, and two, I don't want to tear other people's stuff up. So the good thing about that thumb, like I was saying on those buckets, is once you grab something, the thumb goes with the bucket. It stays in that same position. It's good to me, it's good for the demolition work because you can grab a big footer, and then when you go to put it in the truck, you can rotate the bucket and get your bucket in the right position so it'll fit down in the bed, lower it, and you're good to go. That's assuming you're side loading. I'm a fan of side loading over the back. Sometimes you can't reach all the way to the front of the truck, or you hit the tarp system, or, there's just, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of loading over the side of the trucks. You can see everything a lot better front to back. So that's my opinion. Everybody's got their own opinion on that, but that's where I stand. And for C&D, if you got big pieces of wood or trash or whatever, you've got the length of the bed. You don't just have that width of the bed, so you got more room to put the stuff in. So, but yeah, that's that. But so that's what's going on with that bank demolition, that Bank of America we tore down. As far as the dirt job, where we've been trucking all that dirt out, so the story behind that is, I had a bunch of videos posted a while back, and I kind of redid my channel, and so I can't remember even if the video is even on there, but we tore down I guess you'd call it a full service car wash. They had like an oil changing bay. You could put gas in your car there. It was kind of a neat little place. It was a local thing we had around here. They had like 2 or 3 of them, and they finally closed down for whatever, I guess, I don't know, whatever reason. And when they tore, so when we got hired to tear it down, well, the site grader for the job is actually someone we've done work for that has come in behind us before. So we knew the guy. He's out of, I want to say Georgia or Kentucky. I don't know. I should know this. Anyway, super nice guy. So he's kind of out of his element in this area. So, he kind of looked for us. He asked us, like, hey, could you do hauling for him? And this goes back to that first project we did for him a year or two ago, a couple of years ago, I think. And so, yeah, we'll do, we can do the hauling for you, whatever. And then it kind of went into, we like on this car wash, we tore the car wash down, and our scope was not to take out the hardscape. That was part of his scope, but he didn't know it was part of his scope. So he asked us, like, hey, why that machine, that 350 was there? He said, could you guys give me a price on ripping the parking lot up or whatever and hauling it off? I'm like, yeah, sure. Because we were going to have to truck it out anyway. And to be honest with you, some of the jobs I've done for them, they've ripped the material up, stockpiled it to get out of the way, but then we would go over there and load and haul ourselves. So, it made sense just to pay us to rip it up too. Save a little time, and it'd be faster for us to do it with the bigger machine, and we're already there with the truck. So we did that. Anyway, so on this dirt job, originally, I don't know if you want to call it the engineer or the architect, whoever was over the job to figure out yardage of dirt, what stays, how many loads would go, or whatever. However, I'm not really a site guy, so I don't really know how that works, but they basically told him no dirt would have to leave site. So, as far as he was concerned, he was set. He didn't have to do a trucking or anything like that. And he as y'all can see in the video, we've got, let's see, we hauled 100. Before it's all said and done, I think there's going to be 250 loads there of dirt. Fortunately, it's all change order work. Not here to gouge anybody. It's change order work. So we're doing it it's being the price of the change order is basically going to be given once all the work is done, because they didn't give us any kind of idea how much dirt there was going to be there. Well, we had our big machine there, so he basically said, could you guys load the dirt for us? You can load a lot faster, because he's got some bigger machines, but on this job he's got like a little 170 size machine. So obviously it's going to load a lot slower. But he said we load off the trucks, and he said, do you guys have trucks you can get a hold of? And then originally we were going to use our trucks, and then for weather reasons the job could get pushed back. Well, now it's basically like the only thing not on grade is where that dirt's sitting, so it's like rush to get it out. So we we lined up a bunch of trucks. We worked Friday doing it. I think they hauled 110 loads that day. Yesterday, which was Saturday, we had 9 trucks running. I'm assuming they got 9 or 10 apiece, so probably 90 to 100 loads yesterday. And we loaded the trucks with our machine. The dozer belongs to him, to the site grader, a buddy of ours or acquaintance, however you want to look at it. But I moved it over there on our low boy. He asked us, just build me for it, whatever y'all need to do. So we got it moved over there. So Friday, you seen me stocking it up, and yesterday the trucking company, Elite Trucking, who had the white Kenworth trucks, he said we couldn't get anybody out there to do it, so he got one of his guys to do it or whatever. So I think I have to go over there tomorrow and stock it up again. We're going to try to haul out there tomorrow. It's raining today, so hopefully it won't get too muddy. But so hopefully whoever run the dozer yesterday, y'all kind of seen that I did. I got it pushed up real steep, so it's not like this massive pile. It's more taller, skinnier than like just, it's massive mess of dirt, and kind of tracked it in. Hopefully whoever run the dozer yesterday did the same thing. I'm a little concerned. But so that's that. But yeah, we'll get that dirt out of there. And then yesterday I had to show up to the job. Well, I didn't have to. It was Oscar was having to so Oscar's background with us is all pretty much demolition excavator work. Not really any dirt work. He dug a few basements for houses and stuff, but for the most part, and footers, but for the most part, he does demolition. So loading out massive stockpiles of dirt. And again, I'm no professional at loading out dirt as far as how to set things up, but I've been around it more than him, so I kind of had a little bit of an idea of what to do. And so he was just grabbing dirt, loading the trucks, and doing a good job. But when I got there, I said, hey, let's try to find something that's easier for you. It won't be so hard on you having to walk this excavator around on top of this massive pile and whatever. So I took that 51 Komatsu and was pushing, kind of keeping it clean for him. And then the rest of the day he was able to dig from the side. The trucks would back up to him like this. He would dig this way and swing and just kind of work his way down the pile. And as far, he sent me a picture of it when he was done. Everything looked good, so I think we should be good to go on that. So that's the plan. That was this week's videos. Move the equipment. We do a lot of stuff, so my videos aren't going to capture everything that we do. It's more or less just going to be what I'm involved in. But that was this week. Moved the equipment, got the attachments moved over, put on for the bank, did the bank job, did the dirt job. This coming week, going to be the same thing. Try to wrap up the bank job, which kind of got pushed back a little bit due to all this dirt. We're trying to beat the rain. Get the dirt out of there, and then whatever they schedule for us after that, I don't know. We got a million places we need to go, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it. Oh, and then something interesting. So when I move those machines, if you are watching, if you run low boys or you're getting into it or something like that, again, I'm not sure who's watching these videos, but something that no one ever told me that because I basically had to learn this by myself. So I mean, I got advice from other people for the most part. I just kind of had to wing it and learn it myself. So with a low boy, when you apply for permits for oversized, South Carolina, we get blanket permits for up to 100,000 pounds if you follow their special map they give you of like low weight bridges and roads you can't use and stuff like that. Anything else blanketed is for 90,000. Most roads you're safe to go on at 90,000 with I think it was 5 axles and 6 axles for 100,000 pounds. That's so you buy it one time and it lasts all year. So if you buy January 1st, it lasts till January 1st. It doesn't end. It's not like it only goes from May to May or June to May, or if y'all know what I'm trying to say. So when you get an oversized permit, how do you do that? Well, and then I'll end the video on this. So basically what you do is you got to know what your truck weighs empty. So what I would recommend is fill your truck up fuel. Make sure it's as heavy as you can make it, as it would be. Full tank of fuel, all your change of binders, any dunnage you may keep on there, straps. Have all that stuff on your truck and trailer so this is the heaviest it will ever be empty. Because chains, half a tank of fuel, depending on how big your fuel tanks is, it's a lot of weight could be added. So go get it weighed. I think our rig with the 4th axle on the low boy, I think we're 49,000. I got it on I'm using my phone to record, but I've got it on my CAT scale ticket on my phone, but I think it's like 49 or 50. I don't remember. Anyway, so go get your empty weight. Then when someone says, hey, I need you to move this machine, ask them how much it weighs. More than likely, they're not going to know because a lot of people get their stuff used, so they have no idea what it weighs. They just know that they can't move it. Richie Specs is a big one online to find weights, but I'll be honest with you, rarely are they accurate because you can order machines with different size tracks, booms, buckets, just all kinds of crazy stuff. So if you go online or you go to what I do is I go to like a dealer website or the manufacturer website, and they'll give you a range of what that machine should weigh. I always pick the heaviest. So like I moved a 220 Volvo to the coast a few months back, and it said that thing could weigh from like 48,000 to 65,000 pounds. I was like, God, 65,000 pounds for a 220, that's kind of heavy, but I went with that weight, and thankfully I did because the way there's a spec'd out, it weighed every bit of that. Had the integrated cage and the extra guards on the cylinder, and it just, anyway, it was a heavy tractor. Get your permit for that. As far as axle weight, you just got to figure out how your truck is, set up or whatever. It's all a learning curve, and I can go in depth if y'all want to. Leave comments, and maybe I can do on one of my Sunday podcasts, I'll do a video on kind of how to get into it and try to be as accurate as you can. But once you get it, pick the heaviest, get your permit for those numbers, then go to a CAT scale. I say cat scale. You can go to whatever scale you want to, but I use cat scale because they don't guarantee the weight of spread axle or overweight stuff, but it's going to be pretty close. So, and I didn't realize this, but anyway, go get weighed so that way you know what it is, and so when you go get your permit, you can either update your permit or for now on you know about what that machine's going to weigh in that class. And then use that number for all machines that size. That way you know, like, it's probably going to be the heaviest this size machine will ever be. But I was talking to the cat scale rep. I called them because I was just curious because we had to move some 380 Volvos up to Charlotte right there on Graham Street, which is basically downtown Charlotte. And had to cross, there's a scale up there on 77 North, which is where they, the route sent me, the oversized route. So I based off what the customer said, what it weighed, and what they told me was heavier than what the computer even said. So I was like, okay, I should be covered. Not even close. They told me I put the 380 at 95,000 pounds. I did. Went to the cat scale, and I wasn't sure how much I could weigh because, when you get into 130, 40, 50, 60,000 pounds, don't break anybody's scale. So I get to the cat scale, and I call them, and they said, yeah, we can do up to 300,000 pounds, which I thought was pretty interesting. So just keep that in mind. If you need to weigh something heavy, according to cat scales, 300,000 or less you can weigh, so don't be scared to pull up there with an oversize. You're not going to hurt their scale. But their machine ended up weighing like 98,000. So it was 3,000 something pounds, almost 4,000 pounds overweight, which put me right at like 149 something thousand. And without getting into some crazy engineering review on your permits, 150,000 is all you can weigh with 8 axles, at least in South Carolina. I think you can actually go to 160, but it gets into some engineering review, and then the permit can take forever, stuff like that. So keep that in mind, and but we'll go over it. So anyway, thanks again for watching. If you're already subscribed, I appreciate it. If you're not, like I said, go back, watch the videos. Monday through Saturday, I'm going to do action videos, kind of like, the job side or just whatever we're doing. And then Sunday, we'll podcast that week's work and what's coming up next. If you like what you see, subscribe. And if you don't, that's fine. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. We'll get some footage working. All right, thanks again.